Hey guys, I went shooting and I took my 1911 with me. It ran perfectly again, and when I got home, I noticed there's been 1,000 rounds since I've cleaned this last. I'd done a full cleaning on it last, and I figured I'll videotape it and show you guys how it's done. We're gonna tear it completely down, and I'll clean it off camera, and we'll build it back up. The thing is, I'm pretty busy these days, so I'll probably do it in multiple videos. I can either connect them or upload them piece by piece. I haven't decided yet, but most likely I'll just upload it all at once in one long video. So I don't know what you guys like, if you like one long video or multiple shorter videos. So I don't know. But once I decide, I'll let you guys know, and it's probably going to take me 2-3 weeks to do this whole thing. But you guys won't know because I'll upload the final product all at once. So let's get cracking. First thing you need to do is, guess what it is? Safety check. Put that aside. And it's empty. Now I've safety checked these before the video, but I'm going to do it for you guys too. We're going to put the safety on, and we're going to do a field strip. So I'll have a video on that, how to do that, and I won't show you, I won't bore you with that. Now I'll put a link right here, you can go and look how that's done. So I'll get that torn down and I'll be right back. I got it torn down, it's broken down, and we're gonna get cracking on working on the slide first, and then we'll do the frame. So if you don't know how to get to this point, again, you probably shouldn't be doing this. A very good rule of thumb is that if you don't know how to get to this point, you don't want to go any further than this. So practice this, get good at taking it down, doing a field strip, and then putting it back together before you move on and do what we're about to do. So I'm going to get these aside. I'm going to use a little plastic bin. I'm going to put my parts in there because I'm going to do this on multiple days, not just one single sitting. I'm going to put these aside, the frame aside, put the barrel right there. Okay, so now to take your slide apart, this is a Series 70 slide. You don't have any firing pin safeties in here. It's a very simple slide. There's really only two parts that we're going to take off, or three parts. One is this back plate, the other is the extractor, and then the firing pin and firing pin spring inside. And that would pretty much do it for your slide. So what you're going to need for this is a 5/30 seconds punch. Oops. A 5/30 seconds punch, and probably a little screwdriver, but you don't need a screwdriver. You can pull the extractor out by your hand. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your punch, and we're going to push on the firing pin. Now as we're pushing in, I'm just going to get a good hold of the slide. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to push slightly down on that back plate, on the butt plate, which will move it down just a little bit. Note the direction it's going in. The curve is towards the back and bottom. It won't go in any other way, but just in case yours does. Then we can pull the plate off, but keep your finger on the back so it doesn't, your firing pin doesn't go flying out. Okay, that's out. There's our butt plate. This one's a dirty one. Let's put that aside. Okay, now our firing pin's out. The firing pin is symmetrical. It doesn't have a direction where it goes in. Just it's round. Well, I mean, it needs to go in this way, but it doesn't have to point up or down or left or right. Just pull that out. And the spring on mine, it's pretty tough to take out, so I'm not going to take that out. I don't want to stretch or change the spring anyway, so I'm just going to put that aside. Okay, now that those two parts are out, the only thing left is our extractor, which is right there. I'm going to just push on it. As you push on it, it's going to come up right there. So just grab it and pull it out. And there's your extractor. Now again, this has a direction. That little cutout. This little cutout right here. That's where the butt plate goes. And the L will go towards the inside of the gun. So I'm going to put that aside. And that would do it. This is your slide. It is done. So now you can get in there and you can clean out anything you need to clean out. So yeah, that's about it. So I'm going to put this aside, and next we'll work on the frame. Okay, let's get cracking on the slide. But first, you're going to need a few tools. One is a 5/32 punch, the same punch we used to take out the firing pin. You're going to need a 2.5 millimeter hex screw or a screwdriver. Focus camera. 2.5. We're going to use this, in my case, to take the screws out of the grips. Yours might be a flathead, might be a different size, but make sure you use the correct size so you don't strip them. And then we're going to need a 2.5 millimeter flathead. We're going to use that to remove our magazine release. So next thing you need is your gun. Should have come with a bag of goodies, 2 keys, 2 Allen wrenches, one for your takedown, one for your sights. And then this little guy right here, this little pin, we're going to use that to lock in our mainspring. So let me get that out. So first things first, what we're going to remove is going to be our mainspring housing, which is this guy right here. You have 2 notches and it slides into the back strap, or it's part of the back strap. You have a locking key where you can lock this so your kids can't use it, and your keys are these 2 round little things in there. But then again, right underneath the grip safety, you have a little hole, and that's where your spring sits, or the spring stop sits. So you're going to cock your gun, you're going to grab this pin, this doesn't matter which direction it goes in, and you're going to drop it in like that. Right now it's loose. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the safety off, and I'm going to put my hand in front of the hammer, and I'm going to pull the trigger, easing the hammer forward. You don't want to make this slam forward because it'll mess your gun up. So just going to slowly ease it forward. There we go. Now your hammer is loose because we took the pressure off the spring, and this little guy, it's not moving. Now the pressure, this guy's taking the pressure from us. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take our grips off, and I've taken the other side off already, but to save time we'll do this side. Okay. Alright, so then I'm going to grab my grip from both sides, and it comes right out. I'm going to put that aside. Now we have, looks like we got some ballast all under there. That should come out, it's not a big deal. So now you have a pin down here, and there's a little divot on one side and it's a bump on the other side. So we're going to push from this side out. Okay, now you might need a hammer for this. The last time I did this, I didn't need a hammer, I just pushed it out by hand, but if it doesn't come out, then no. I'm going to take it off camera, and I'm going to bang it out. I'll be right back. Okay, so we got that pin out. There's a little spring in there where it holds it in so it doesn't fall out. You have a little notch right there in that pin. And sometimes you can push it with hand, but it didn't work this time. I had to get a little hammer and hammer it out. Okay, so again, we're still using the 5/32 punch. So okay, so next we're gonna take our main spring housing and we're just gonna slide it down. Just gonna pull it down. Your grip safety will pop up. I don't know if you noticed that. If I pull this down, there's a little notch under there which sits below the main spring housing, and that popped out. Okay, I'm just gonna pull this out. Now in here you have your hammer and you have your leaf springs. Just gonna pull the main housing out. There's our pin, there's our main spring, and I'm just going to put this aside. Okay, now in here you have leaf springs, and then you got your hammer's push rod, but we're not going to mess with those yet. The next thing we need to take off is our safeties. What we need to do, you have two positions. You have the off position for your safety, and then you have the on position. Now there's your off and there's your on. Now between on and off there's this little bump or raise. Let me point it out to you with this. That little point right there. So in order to separate these two, pull them apart, it needs to be in that position. If it's all the way down or if it's all the way up, they won't come apart. You're going to break your fingers trying to take that off. So what you need to do is get it right on that position. The thing won't stay. Stop being a pain in the ass. Okay, there we go. So that's the position where you want it. Now when it's on that position, you can pull them apart. Okay, I can't do it on camera, but let's give it a try. So notice the gap right there. Just gonna try and do it on camera, but no promises. So I'm just gonna wiggle it out like that, and I'm just gonna pull it out. If you see it's starting to come out, it just takes a little bit of time. If you have a plastic wedge or a wedge that's plastic or polymer, you can use that to separate the two, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'll get this taken out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is how I managed to pull it out. I pulled this one out first. I got a piece of dental floss and I quadrupled it, folded it over 4 times, and just kind of grabbed it around my finger. Just kind of wrapped it around my finger, and I just yanked on it, kept yanking on it, but I made sure to pass it underneath, lasso it around that pin, because when you're doing it from here, it's leveraging, it's not working very well. You want to pull it straight from that point. So I'm just pulling up on it until it came out. And when it had a little bit of space between the frame and the safety, I stuck my plastic wedge in there and just popped out. So I'm going to put that to the side. Okay, so now this side, we can just grab our safety and we can pull it out. But one thing to remember is this plunger, this tube, this other plunger, they have a spring in there, and they're both under pressure, so when you pull this out, there's a good chance that plunger is going to shoot that way. So be very careful when you pull that out. And I'm going to pull it out gently. Maybe. Again, it's not going to come out if it's in the on or off position, because there's a little lip that will catch on. So we're going to put it in that position, and I can actually push it out with a pin from this side, or a punch from this side. So I'm just going to cover the, there we go. Just wanted to make sure that guy didn't go anywhere. And grab it, and yank it out. I'm going to put her safety aside. There's our plungers. You have a long one that goes towards the back, and you got the short one that goes towards the front. Put that aside. Let me organize these so I don't scratch the finish. Okay, so now that that's out, we can grab our safety, and that comes right out. Next, we have 2 pins. We have our sear pin and we have our hammer pin. And we're going to go from right to left. Left to right. Or not. So, in this case, we're going to go from right to left. So your first instinct is always right. So we're going to go from right to left. I'm just going to push these out. There's our hammer pin. There you go. Put that aside. Next one. Once I pull it out, my hammer will come right out. Put that aside. Then there's your sear notches right there. That guy there. Okay, next one is the pain in the ass part. So you have your sear and your sear release. See those two in there? This little guy here, this thing is blocking it. Okay, sorry about that. I had to cut that out prematurely. Okay, so what we need to do now that we have everything out, we need to take out our sear and sear disconnect. So the way we would do that is you have your sear pin right here. We're gonna press that. I'm just gonna grab a flathead screwdriver. I'm gonna push that out. I'm gonna grab it and I'll pull it out. And I'm gonna set that aside. So now our sear and disconnect is free, so we can just kind of move the gun backwards and those two will fall out. It's pretty easy. This is the direction they're going to go in. Just make sure to kind of keep an eye on that. These two holes need to align. The big one and the little ones on the sear need to align. And yeah, that's the way it goes in. But when we get to that part, I'll show you again. Put these aside. So next thing we need to do is to go ahead and take the mag release out. And when we take the mag release out, it'll let the hammer go back and come out. So grab your flathead screwdriver and we're going to push our mag release all the way in as hard as you probably can, depending on your gun. But I'm going to put, and there you go, it'll come out. So you just put pressure on it and you will turn your screw counterclockwise. In my case, it should be the same in all other 1911s, but if you turn it counterclockwise and it's resisting you, don't push it or pressure it. Just, you know, work with the distance where you're moving it up or down, and it should just release. If it doesn't, go the other way. See if it releases the other way. But it's a very small little latch. Yeah, that little guy right there. It's a pretty small little latch right there. You don't want to put too much pressure on it. You don't want to break it. So put that aside. Now once that's out, your hammer is free to come out. So just tap it and your hammer will come out. In my case, the longer piece over here goes towards the bottom, and they also have an adjustment screw which goes towards the bottom. So that would do it. I will get these cleaned up, and when I get a little bit of time, we'll do the assembly video. Alright guys, see ya. Okay, so let's get this guy back together. Everything's cleaned, everything has a very light layer of oil on it, so let's get cracking on this guy. So what we need to do first is drop our trigger in, and the way we would do that is, if you look on the back, you see these two grooves right there, you see these two openings. We're going to drop our hammer in with the slant or the angle of the back of the, did I say hammer? Trigger. We're going to drop our trigger in with that angle being parallel to the angle of the back strap, basically. Okay, I'm going to drop that in. Be careful with it. It will drop in. Next, once that's in, we're going to pop our, onto this so it doesn't go anywhere. We're going to pop our mag release in. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to drop this guy in. Sorry about the noise, guys. It's a little warm in here. I have the windows open. So, alright, so we're going to drop the mag release in. And we're going to put our screwdriver in there. I'm going to push it up. I'm going to push this up. And I'm going to push down on my screwdriver. Okay? As I'm going to push down, I'm going to twist clockwise and it'll go into place and it'll stay in place. So I'm going to push that up, I'm going to push this up all the way, and I'm going to push down on the screwdriver and twist clockwise, and that's on. Now that's in there. Next thing we need to do is we need to put our sear and disconnect in. So if you see that little hole right there, that's where the disconnect is going to go through. Okay, this little hole right here. So I'm going to grab my disconnect with that curve going up, and I'm just going to pop it in there. Pop it in there, make sure it's in there. There you go. So that's in. And then I'm going to grab my sear with it facing up, that little curve facing up towards the back. I'm just going to drop that in. And we're going to work it into place. Put the screwdriver a little bit, push it down. There you go, it's in. Then I'm going to grab my sear pin and I'm going to put it in from the left. Now it's not going to go in all the way, but I'm going to pull my trigger just a little bit to raise everything. Okay, where the holes are in the line, so I'm going to push that up a little bit. I think we need to go up a little bit more. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my finger on the pin and I'm going to push in. So I have a little bit of pressure on there. Okay. I'm just going to play with these until they go in. Oops, too far. Oh man, you guys can't see this. Hold on. Let's check from this side to see how far off we are. Oh, okay, so we're not that far off. Let's go up, and this needs to come down a bit. There we go. See that? We are in. Both of them are in. Just gonna pop that pin in. And everything should be held in place. Yeah. Just give it a shake test and it's in place. So, get my flashlight here. Yeah, you see how everything sits just like that. Alright. So, then, once that guy is in, just be careful with that pin because it likes to fall out. It's in there very loosely. Okay, so next we're going to pop our hammer in. So our hammer is going to go through this hole here. So I'm just going to align that, and there it goes. Just going to align those two holes. I'm going to grab my hammer pin and drop it in. There you go, and that's in. The sear's grabbing it. And just push the sear in a little bit. There we go. It'll release it. Alright, so now there's our hammer. everything's in. Next thing is we're going to pop our leaf springs in. Okay, sorry, the battery is dying. Recording in HD kills those damn batteries fast. So, okay, so we were going to put the leaf spring in. So, I'm going to grab it, and we have our little point right there. And that little curve is going to go inside that groove. That was on my finger. Just going to drop that in. Very important, the placement of these leaf springs. Okay. Alright. That's in. Okay. Now, I went ahead and put the plungers in here also, so you might want to do that. You can do that at any time before we get to this step. So, I had mine put in. Alright, so now this little bugger is a little tricky. It likes to move around, so you want to keep a close eye on this. Make sure it doesn't give you a hard time. So then what I'm going to do is find my punch, because I can't find the damn thing. It was right here. Okay, here it is. So I'm going to use our 5/32 punch. And I am going to use it to hold the grip safety in place. So we're just going to put the grip safety in, and that just basically drops in. Just make sure that the spring is inside the frame, not hanging outside. You don't want to crush it. Okay. I'm going to pop this guy in here, making sure my leaf spring doesn't go anywhere. Alright. Okay. Now that guy's in. See, this little bastard likes to move. So I'm gonna have to take this off again. Yeah, this little bugger likes to move, so you gotta be careful with this dude. So what we're gonna do, just so it doesn't piss us off, let's do this. Let's put that there, and we're gonna get our mainspring housing, and we're gonna get that started. Just enough to hold that little bugger in place so it doesn't move. Okay. Then we're going to put our grip safety on. Again, making sure that little spring's not sticking out like mine is. Okay. Put that on. Okay. So I'm going to put my punch through. Just to hold that in place. Hammer pin's falling out. Now, you remember that strut in there? It needs to go inside the hole of the mainspring housing. So I'm going to turn the gun this way. Again, keeping an eye on my pins. And making sure, my light here, making sure that that pin is sitting right inside the hole. Okay. And I'm going to push up on my mainspring housing, put the grip safety down, and push all the way up. Okay. Alright, so that's on. Now we're going to put the pin in so it keeps it in place. Remember, the divot goes towards the left and the bump goes towards the right. And I'm going to grab my little plastic mallet, and we're going to just tap that guy into place off to set it down. Alright, sorry if I shake you guys up. I'm just going to tap it in now. Alright. Tap, tap, tap. Alright, that's in. That is in. Okay, so next I'm gonna grab my safeties, put this hammer aside. Now, whoops. Now this one goes on the right side and this one goes on the left side. And the way they sit in there, so you gotta make sure you align them because they go into one another. Okay, see how that sits? They will go into one another like that. They'll fit into each other. So I'm going to start by putting this one in first. Again, I'm holding on to everything so things don't go flying out. See? Little bugger likes to go. Alright, so that's in. So next thing I need to do is pop the other side in. Now the other side I need to compress our plunger so we can get this guy in. So I'm going to get that started. I'm not going to go all the way in, just to about right there. Okay. And then I'm going to get my flathead screwdriver and I'm going to press the pin down, bring it down. So I'm going to grab it, let me bring it down. There you go. Now, oops, this other one fell out. Alright, so it's almost there. It's not quite there yet. So we're going to push it down a little bit more. Get that in there. Oh man, this is so hard to do through the viewfinder. I'll be right back. Okay, so what needs to be done is, again, what we did, and for it to pop all the way in, you need to cock the hammer. The hammer needs to be cocked, okay, which means it's taking pressure off of that, and I can take that off of here now, put that aside. Now we just need to press these two together, and there you go. It is in. Just do a quick safety check. And it's in there. And yep, that's good. So next step would be our grips. I'm going to pop those in. Let's get the slide done. Our frame is done, and I'm just going to put that aside. And we'll just work on our slide. And this is the easiest one of them all. So back here you have two holes. The center one is for your firing pin. And again, our spring is on there. Now for some reason you take that spring off, which I didn't. One of the ends of this spring is going to be crimped down tighter than the other side. So the one that's crimped down is going to go towards the firing pin. The other side goes towards the front of the gun. So I'm just going to pop that guy in like that, and then I'm going to put my extractor in. Now our extractor is going to go in again. If we kept a close eye on it, how it came out, it's going to go in this way. The L goes towards the left. I'm just going to put that in there. And you want to make sure that this is nice and straight right there. So when we put our butt plate on, it's going to slide right in there. There you go. Our butt plate itself will keep it straight. Alright, and pop that in. So next thing I do is I'm going to push that to about there, and I'm going to get the butt plate started. The butt plate will retain that. I'm going to get my punch, and let me see how I can do this without okay, so we got that trapped in there, and I'm going to push it all the way down and get the butt plates to go. Now see our extractor moved. If that moves, just need to straighten that out, and let the butt plate push my pin out of the way. And now it's in there, so I'm just gonna push it in and it'll pop into place. Good. So our extractor's in now. Everything's in. Good. That is done. So the next thing we need to do is we need to assemble the gun. Okay, it's back together. Good to go. If you want to see how it's put back together, I'll annotate a video right there. But again, I'm pretty sure you guys know what you're doing. So, alright, so now the last thing we need to do is just do a the function check and a safety check. So, take the magazine out, it's empty. Take the safety off, chamber's empty, and what we'll do is we're going to put the safety on, pull the trigger, nothing should happen, press the grip safety and pull the trigger, nothing should happen. That's good. I'm going to take the safety off, pull the trigger, nothing should happen, and then we're going to hold the grip safety and pull the trigger, and nice. Okay, now let's check our trigger reset. So we'll pull the trigger, we will cycle it and bring the trigger forward, click, there you go, it just reset, and there it goes again. Good. Put the mag in and slide locks back. That's good. And still fires. Now last thing we need to do is check the travel of the firing pin, and we do that by sticking a pin inside and pulling the trigger, and there it goes. Okay, so we have a good firing pin as well. Alright guys, I think this is it. It took me 2 weeks to do this, so I'm going to edit this as best as I can and make it as short as possible, with as little edit points as possible, but there's going to be a few in there. So if you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, anything. Alright guys, see ya.